Baby, baby, baby. Y'all come on back up in here now. That's all I can tell you. You better bring your ass. Come on back up in here. Cause, ooh wee, ooh wee. Y'all come on back. Come on back now. Come on back, you hear? You come on back, you hear? Come on back, you hear? Now, you know I just got off and said I'm finna investigate something. Well, I guess to the further extent that I can investigate it. Y'all come on back, you hear? Y'all come on back, you hear? Let me see, am I everywhere? I think I'm everywhere now. Y'all come on back, you hear? Now, I was just on the live and I told y'all I had to go investigate something. I need y'all to like and share this live, and I'm dead ass for real. Did y'all see the thumbnail? First of all, did you see the thumbnail? Did you see the thumbnail? So now we was just on the live a little while ago. Hey, it's yo. Hey, everybody, like, come on, like, share the live. We were just on the live, and Mimi said, check my inbox. And I checked my inbox, and I got a message from somebody, but it wasn't Mimi. And the message said, Ari was exposing Ryker the Stryker and had the picture up of this guy. And I said, what? I love Jimmy Kimmel too. Mimi. So, Mimi, I was confusion because I said, Mimi, this is not from you. And you're like, yes, it is. And I'm like, no, it's not. And you're like, yes, it is. And so the message I showed y'all say y'all didn't see it. The message said, exposing Ryker the Stryker. And the message was from Ari in a private group. So I had to go find somebody in the private group that can tell me where the live was, because it said, I'm about to go live in a private group. Okay? Now, we finna listen to the live. I'm gonna listen to the live with you, and we're gonna listen to the live together. Okay? We're gonna listen to the live together. So you see the picture. Oh, Lakeisha, I'm so glad you damn here. Lakeisha, I just was telling somebody, you was just saying that Ryker was putting up this thing about he was in love with Ari and something. So, girl, the picture is saying that's who Ryker the Stryker is. You got to look at the thumbnail. And now we're about to listen to her expose and tell what happened with him. Now, I don't know what happened with him, but we're going to listen and see. Okay? So, let me see how I want to do this. Just give me a second. I want to put up a picture, so let me see what I want to put up. Okay, y'all see the picture. Okay, cool. I'm about to share my screen, and we're about to listen to this. Okay, so they're about to say what happened or whatever. So let's just listen. Hold on, y'all should be able to hear in just a second.
Would text, or I'm sorry, message me.
Would like to start by saying that if any of you guys have like had personal conversations in your inbox with Ryker the Stryker, that you may feel embarrassed about if this person asks you for money, for projects, etc., we ask that you please come forward, right? So we can't expose one side of people but not expose our own if they're doing the same thing. It makes them no different. And so what y'all about to hear today is I've been out of the loop for a long time. So what y'all about to hear today, I heard today for the first time, and it literally sent me into a space of just where I didn't want to be, because I was just shocked. So again, if Ryker has reached out to you guys in your inbox, because people don't just do what he's done, this is a pattern. And so if you've been got, we ask that you come forward. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Again, people present with sad stories and all those things. Doesn't mean that it's sad, but our hearts kind of melt to those kind of things, and we have to be
Now, wasn't Ryker the Stryker talk about my cash apps? Now he's scamming people. Sound like he might have scammed Ari. I don't know. We listening.
careful with that, because there are a lot of a lot of effed up people out here, and this is what they do. And so that's what I wanted to start with. I'm here to support Ari, because again, what today brought out is just really appalling to me. And I really was not expecting it at all. But it just shows you that people are not really who they say they are. That's that.
Thank you. Thank you for
You're welcome.
starting that off and being here for support, and all of you guys for always supporting the causes, the mission, and just me in general. Thank you guys, especially over the course of this last few months. Um, okay, you know, you, a lot of the cousins have been following me for probably the past 3 years.
Yes, he did, Lakeisha. The page has been deleted. He's blocked me on Facebook. Okay.
That this has happened, and you become familiar with people who follow you and follow what's going on. So one particular gentleman followed has followed me since the beginning. um it's
You
cousin,
and
when
follow.
you see your in the groups, talk to each other, and cousin this, cousin that. And well, one particular cousin, um his name was Derwin, Keith, Lindsay, would text, or I'm sorry, message me, like if I seen something. Like, he cooks. If you guys don't know who he is a cousin, and he cooks for his content. So he would post videos. Some of you are probably very familiar. In the debunking group, he would post videos of his cooking. Um, and it always looked good. I mean, that's how he caught my attention. So he would cook, and, oh, cousin, that looks good. And we would, go back and forth. Oh, okay, I'll get you, I'll give you some, just little things. And he would come in my direct message, and like on my stories or something, or I would go on his stories. And when you're on a story, if you comment on someone's story, it's not going to go to your page. It's going to go to your direct message. So, we would go back and forth like on stories innocently. And then he began, I think I said, where did you learn to cook? I think that's what really kind of sparked the conversation. Where did you learn to cook? And he wrote back, he learned to cook from his mother. And then, he's telling me how he didn't used to know how to cook, but he had gotten better over time. I don't want to go into too much of that, but he asked me, if he could.
Okay, that's
And
not me. That's her thing breaking up.
I said yes. And we began talking. And it was kind of off from there, just sharing just a little bit about ourselves. He knew a lot more about me, because you got to remember, he's been following me for 3 years. So his conversation and my conversation was a little different, because I knew nothing about him, but he knew everything about, not everything, but he knew a lot about me. and he began, just telling me everything that's so sweet. I've been following you for years, and I've been in love with, just all these things he's saying, just sweet nothings. And I we began talking, and it kind of again went from there. He was the perfect gentleman. When I say I thought I had the one. I've never in my life had someone so charming, so sweet and kind. And, he's older. He's 58. I'm 47. I've never been with an older man like that. So, he was just a man. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you for sending me somebody like this. I just, he was perfect, romantic, and all the things, that I've ever dreamt of. It was rolled into Derwin. And, he seemed to have his stuff together. That's another thing I'm not used to. I'm used to, kind of being the breadwinner. I'm used to kind of carrying the household. And so for me to meet a man, he has his stuff together. He owns his own business. He, is a great father. He's a great cook. All of the things that you want in a man. I was like, man, I'm blessed. That's all. I was counting my blessings every day and thanking God every day for bringing me Derwin, because he was everything that I ever wanted or needed. So I thought. Um, you know, people, when they're not really who they say they are, they can only hold a face that's not theirs for so long. They can only have the mask on for so long before it comes off. So, you know, I fell in love with him. I did. And, planning a future with him. I mean, I'm not going to go too much into that, but, once it got really serious, I was like, oh man, I'm starting to really think about the future. And I have to add this in here because it's going to make sense later. I don't care about material things. I don't care about money. That's not what motivates me. It's not what drives me. Those aren't the things that really matter to me. But to him, it did, and he would always say, I want to take care of you. I want to do things that you've never had before. I want to, just make you feel totally and completely safe and protected. And, you know, I'm going to take care of you financially, because he was always touting what he had. Didn't matter to me, but he always made sure I knew everything he had and who he was every chance he got. Then one night we were on the phone. Are you guys still with me? I hope
Yes.
so.
They there.
Um, okay. I One night we were talking and he says, Ari, I need to tell you something.
Oh shit.
And I was nervous
Me
because
too.
it wasn't like I need to tell you something like, okay, the scoop or anything. Like, it was like a very somber, very melancholy. I need to tell you something. I need to share something with you. And I was like, okay. He was like, but I'm scared. I'm scared to tell you. I'm scared to say it. And I was like, well, what is it? I mean, you could tell me anything. It took him a while. He was very hesitant to talk about it. And finally, after nudging him for some time, he says, Ari, I'm Ryker the Stryker. And I laughed. I just laughed it off. Whatever, like, okay, whatever, Derwin. And he says, no, I'm not kidding. I am Ryker the Stryker. I was like, okay, whatever. But let me pause right here and let me tell you my relationship. I knew Ryker from whenever he conceived Ryker the Stryker as Ryker the Stryker. I never knew Ryker the Stryker as Derwin. So when Ryker the Stryker would come to deplatform, because that's how he met me, was through deplatform when I was running the deplatform page, he would always try to converse with me in Messenger, or he would try to send me something. He would try to give me information, but I wouldn't never take it because I never knew who he was. So I was, and this is me, I was a little nervous. I didn't really know who to trust back then. So I did not click on things. I wouldn't accept things. And I didn't know who Ryker was because he just kind of came from nowhere. And he says, well, I'm here to help you. I'm, here on this side. And you guys don't have a man on this side. So I want to help support you guys. That's all fine and good. But, I never really followed him like to know a lot about his content because I wasn't 100% bought into Ryker as the platform, as Ari back then. So fast forward where I was at, he was like, I'm Ryker. And I says, no, you're not. I says, whatever, Derwin, no, you're not. Well, he sent me a message. I received, while we're talking, he told me to hold on. And then I got a notification from Ryker the Stryker and it says, I love you. And I was like, holy fucking shit. You are Ryker. I mean, it blew my mind. I could not believe it. I needed more proof because it still wasn't setting in with me that Derwin Keith Lindsay, this man that I fell in love with, this man who is perfect, is also Ryker the Stryker. I couldn't put it together. So, it took me like literally weeks to wrap all this around. And I was still, when we were talking, it's like, oh my God, I still can't believe you're Ryker the Stryker. So he had to do a lot of convincing to me. Like, he would have to, like he would say something like, okay, I'm getting ready to post this, to my page. And this is what it's going to be. And then I would see it come through and like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Like I didn't really know what to do at that point. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I felt like I need to know who really Ryker the Stryker is because all these years I never really followed him like that. So I felt like, and I even told him, I feel like I need to go back through your page and find out who Ryker the Stryker is. And, I had so many questions for him, like with this whole Ryker thing. So I know who he is now, which is okay. I'm growing like accustomed to like who he is as Ryker. But you gotta, so I'm jumping around a little, but I want to talk about what the first red flag was for me. I have the Ari show page, and Derwin is very critical of the things that I say or do on the Ari show page. He wanted complete control of, not complete control, I don't want to say that, but he wanted to monitor that my Ari show page didn't have certain content on it. So the red flag where I should have been out was when he, you know, I've everybody knows that I have lost my son. Everyone, I mean, everyone knows that. And he wasn't he became, again, this is not who he was at first. I want to preface that. This is not who he was at first. But it's like after I found out who Ryker was, I think it kind of opened the floodgates for him to be who he truly was. Um,
I
and
don't know,
so,
Mimi.
um, uh, you know, it's my therapy. Like, because I just like it's hard for me to talk about my son out loud, out loud. It hurts too much. So I do not talk about it often out loud. But what helped me is to be able to write it. It was very therapeutic for me to write it down, and you guys have always been supportive. Well, Derwin Ryker didn't like that. He didn't like me to be so expressive with my grief on my page. And he would tell me that. He wouldn't at first tell me not to do it, but he didn't like he encouraged me to do other things. Well, one day he was very upset because I posted about my grief on my page. So he contacted me and he was like, "Didn't I tell you to stop posting about your son? Didn't I tell you don't do that? Why do you keep doing that? You keep bombarding, you guys with my grief, and I need to move on." And this is the kicker. He followed it up by saying, "If you continue to do this, then I'm leaving you." I was like, okay. It's like, okay, that's when I should have left. I mean, I'm kicking myself because there shouldn't have been anything said after that. It shouldn't have been any dialogue for me. I should have just left, but I didn't. And I was trying to explain to him, this is my therapy. He's like, "But everybody doesn't want to hear that all the time. You need to post about stuff that's happy, Ari. You don't always have to post about your son and your grief." So let's move on past. That's one red flag, is him.
Red flag. Bitch, that's a red house, ain't it? That's a red continent. That's a red river. The ocean red. The hell you mean a flag?
Being upset about me posting about my son. Well, then the whole Lena um, situation occurred where I received some messages, and I could be out of order. Please don't hold me like to the timetable because my brain is, just a little. I mean, my memory is a bad now. Um, but Lena, one of the cousins had sent me some information that Lena had said about my son, and I was so upset. I'm talking about I was so angry. I was angry. So I went to Derwin Ryker and I showed him what she had said about my son, about me, and about how essentially I deserved this. I had this coming. It was my karma. And um, this is kind of my karma. My son passing is my karma. And so I was upset and I told him, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm making a post online." "No, you're not. No, you're not doing that." I was like, "Yes, I am." "No, you're not." He was like, "You're not going to get involved with any of that." I was like, "Well, yes, I am. This is my son. Yes, I am, Derwin." He was like, "See, you don't listen to me. You always want to go rogue. You want to do whatever." I said, "This is my page. So this is what I want to put on my page." He was like, "No, I don't want you to do it." And I did it anyway. And he was upset. very upset about me doing this. And I want to pause real quick because I'm doing this live, but I'm going to also be putting a lot of receipts in the group, so that it can all match up. Um, but he had said, I don't know why you did that. You don't need to get involved with that. But understanding, you guys, this is how he met me. Just remember, this is how he met me. He met me as the platform where I was seeking justice, seeking accountability for Carmen and them and what they had done to the homeless, what they had done to Rico, all these, you guys know. I mean, so, and also understand that he's Ryker. And what does Ryker do? Ryker posts about who? Riker's content is that. But for some reason, he didn't want me to do it on my page. But I'm going to tell you my thoughts in a minute on why he didn't. So he became upset about that. Then there was, the Kansas City thing. And you guys had seen my post about um, uh, Carmen, about the Kansas City Chiefs shirt. He became enraged about that. He was mad about that. Threatening to, if this is going to be what your content is on the Ari Show page, I'm leaving you. You need to move on to other things. You need to focus on, your family. You need to focus on this, traveling, whatever you want to focus on. But you need to move away from Carmen, take anything associated with it. And you need to move away from talking about your son. So, I mean, I was like, you know what? Maybe that would be best to just focus on other things. So I did take his advice for a while, um, because I thought he had the best intentions. But understand, I'm very smart. I'm very intuitive. I'm very intelligent, just like all of us are on this side. And you start smelling bullshit, and you start thinking of, like, why would you not want me to do all this, but you turn around and do the same thing? Why is it that you can post about them, but you don't want me to post about them? So we had conversations about that. And where am I at right now? I think okay. So just talking about just the control, you know, the control started to seep in on um like over my content on my page. Then it was, he's an alcoholic, a very bad one, very, very bad one, because he doesn't remember what he says, doesn't remember what he does the next day. He's verbally abusive. He was mentally abusive. I'm going to, just the things that he would say to me, the language that he would use, the cussing. He was very, um, he was an angry person. And again, all this start coming, it wasn't shown like in the very beginning, but it began to show like throughout the relationship. And he, it was to a point where I would like be really upset about it, and he, um if I was upset, I want to say this because this was important. If I was ever upset, like, you guys, some days I don't get out of bed. If it's a bad day for me, I won't get out of bed at all. Like, it's it's heavy. Like, I could be like in a really bad place. And if I didn't answer his calls, he would start like um becoming upset. Or if I posted something, he would get upset. And he would and then when I would talk to him, I would be upset. I would be crying. I would, today is not a good day for me. I'm thinking about my son. I miss my son, just all the feelings, the guilt. I mean, just like I'm in a bad place. And he would tell me, Ari, you need to suck it up. You need to get over this. Do you know how many moms have lost their children?
Mm-mm.
That was another red flag for me, like
Bitch, that's the same flag, but from the first flag.
I couldn't, I could no longer like, if I was sad about my son, I got to a point where I couldn't show it anymore because he didn't want to hear it. So the times where I wouldn't talk to him, it was probably because I was grieving and I know that he didn't want to hear it. So um, he would always try to make it seem like I'm I shouldn't be feeling like this right now. It's time for me to move on. It's time for me to,
Hey, man, I'm stepping.
focus on other things and not my son and my grief. And we had plenty of arguments about that, plenty of disagreements about that. Well, it became to a point where it was really bad, really toxic, really bad. And I don't want to bring up too much more on that. I just kind of wanted to set that up. But what really has done it for me and why I'm here is not because of anything that I just shared with you guys. It's what I'm getting ready to share with you on why I felt it necessary to be here. About
Okay, I have no idea what she's finna to say because I'm just listening to this. I have a feeling some money got involved and she was scammed. I have no idea. Just a feeling. We're still listening. I don't know if anybody else got a feeling. If they think they may know what's coming, I don't know what's coming. That's just my feeling. We're still listening.
um remember what I told you guys earlier, that Derwin presented himself as having his shit together. He presented himself, he has this, he has that, he's just this all around great guy. And he's financially stable and all these things.
Uh-huh.
Well, about a week ago, he sprung on me. Oh, I don't even want to. Okay. He sprung on me that his daughter had cancer. And it came from nowhere. I mean, this literally, he was like, I I'm gonna share something with you, and I know I haven't told you. He went through all that, and he was like, my daughter has cancer. I was like, what? And it was shocking, but I was like, oh my gosh. He was like, that's why I have been so, mean and angry, and I've been treating you so bad because I'm going through this cancer with my daughter. And if you guys remember, whenever he did the whole cancer thing on Ryker the Stryker, which the page is down now, and it's because of all this right here, um, is when he told me for the first time. So he wanted to, he was doing all these bad things to me, but then he would soften it up by, okay, I'm all this is happening to me because I'm going through cancer with my daughter, and I have to take her to all these appointments and chemo. And I was like heartbroken for him. I'm praying. You guys don't understand. I put everything aside, the way he's treating me, and really was there for him. Just trying to pray for him, pray for his daughter, just trying to keep him in good spirits, and all the things that I know that I would want. Um, well, about how do you remember what I said? How many days ago, Lola? Was it
Um,
a few days ago?
You said I think 4 days ago.
Okay, so a few days ago. So remember, he just told me this about the cancer. I was totally shocked. And then a few days ago, he asked me to call him. And I called him back, and he said, I really don't want to ask you this. I really don't want to, you know, I just don't want to ask you, but I need your help. I was like, okay. He was like, my daughter, with all of her treatments, I'm paying out of pocket for all her medications. Every copay is $80. This is what he's telling me. $80. I'm having to, take her back and forth to her when she has to go to, it's a location in Florida. When she has to go there, I have to take her. In some days, it's a couple, she has to stay overnight for these treatments. And I need, I hate to ask you this, but all my money is into her cancer, essentially, and the care and the medical bills for her cancer. So Ari, I need to borrow 1,200. It started out with I need to borrow $1,200.
$1,200.
Okay, that kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, wait a minute, this man is almost a millionaire. In my mind, what I'm thinking, this man is like a million. What? You couldn't tell me any different. He has all his shit together. There's no way he's asking me for $1,200, but he did. And
This some freaky shit.
I was like, okay. And he began to tell me again, like, where all his money is going. It's being tied up into all her medical bills. So, I don't know if everybody seen my post on the Ari show about my ex, but I posted about my
Mimi, you crazy.
ex and him borrowing like $5,000 from me and him not ever paying me back. So
and real quick, speaking of the ex, she got a type, Donna.
Said, I know what you've been through. I would never do you like that. You can trust me. I'm going to pay you back, or I can do some work for you and I'll still pay you back. Like, he'll help me with some of my clients. Well, I was like, okay. He was like, I'll draft up a contract. I said, absolutely, draft up a contract and do a promissory, and we'll go from there. I'll look it over and we'll go from there. Well, he drafts up the promissory note, and I think I showed you, Lola, and it had like very specifics, like what I can't do. Like, Ari cannot, like, if he doesn't pay me back, like, I can't say anything essentially about it. Lola, do you have it?
Yes, I have it.
Can you read bullet 3?
Hold on.
Not the bullet.
This is what was in the promissory, the contract hostage.
Y'all, I got to pee so bad, but I don't want to get up. I will hold this piss. You hear me? Baby, I'm not getting up.
Of giving him this money, but if he doesn't pay me back, I can't do anything about it. I can't say anything about it. That's how he wrote it. Of course, you guys know I'm not stuck on stupid, and I'm not going to let that ride. But I'm gonna let Lola read. Lola read bullet 3. I made him redact it, but I also sent the one before the revisions.
Hold on, I gotta scan through all these.
Oh, I'm going to make sure that I put all of this is going to be in the group. All of the receipts will be in the group.
All right. Line 3, acknowledgement. The borrower acknowledges that if repayment is not made as promised, the lender reserves the right to remind, criticize, or otherwise bring up the failure to repay. This is what the revised version says.
Read the one that's not. I sent you the one that's not revised.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Now, while she looking for this,
Okay.
now who in their right mind, smart mind, loan somebody money that already got on line 3? If I don't pay you back, you can't say nothing about it. Now I'm finna go piss because this done pissed me off. I'm gonna still play it for y'all. I'm gonna miss a little bit. I gotta pee.
The borrower acknowledges that if repayment is not made as promised, the lender reserves the right to remind, criticize, otherwise bring up failure to repay, throw it back in their face. Lender also is required to not get upset with the borrower and not and is not permitted to use this on any other way but to hurt, criticize, or use this agent to be inflammatory towards the borrower in any way. Lender cannot discuss this agreement with any other individual, no matter what the relationship, and borrow may not disclose said contract to anyone else.
Okay. So no, I'm not going to, you know, accommodate that. I'm not going to agree to that. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. And so he then said, okay, I'll remove it. And what Lola read beforehand was what he uh um
Revised it too.
what he revised it. Thank you. What he
Mhm.
revised. And so I was like, okay. So he revised it, and then there were some other things because there wasn't a timeline on when he was going to make the
That's exactly what it means, Mimi.
payment. It was very it wasn't detailed enough for me. So he was beginning to get frustrated, like, because I was wanting it done right. I was wanting it done like legitly. And I was like, I needed to include, like, when are you going to make these payments back to me? Like, how often, how much, like, what's the timetable? So he finally, he was adding it back. And then I wanted signatures on it. I wanted to sign these documents. So it was legit. He was beginning to get frustrated and, like, upset. Ari, all you got, and then he sent me an invoice. He sent me an invoice from his business to pay him. Oh, and by the way, it had changed. In the thing, he said, oh, by the way, it's changed. It's not 1,200. It was like 1,350 that I need instead. And so he invoiced me and sent me the invoice to make the payment. He's like, Ari, just make the payment. It's not that hard. You could either cash out me, you could do this. I was like, what? So that was really throwing me off. Like, because remember, now I'm really, like, all of these things are starting to really kind of become like things where I'm having to really put everything together now. And
What?
I said,
You
okay,
don't say.
I got to think of this is what I said. And at that point, it's like something in me. It was like God was telling me, Ari, move. Like, nope, you're done. Like, this is it. So, I texted him that night and I said, I need to talk to you. We get on the phone and I start talking about from the very beginning, all the way from the beginning, all the way to where we're at. And I told him that, I'm done. Like, this is it. I'm done. And so I felt really relieved about that. Just being done with him, like totally done. The next morning, hold on just a second.
So I still don't know, like y'all do. Have they ever met in person?
So the next morning, after I tell him I'm done, I get on or he text messages me and he says, hey, I'm on my way to this place in Florida with my daughters. She has to have emergency surgery for her cancer, and her surgery's at 3. And remember, I had just broke up with him, but now it's like, oh, he's telling me that his daughter is like, you know, the one who has cancer is now, you know, on her way to this big hospital that specializes in cancer and having to undergo emergency surgery. I mean, I got a heart. I have children. So I responded back and I said, you know, I'm going to be praying for you. You know, just I did a prayer like on the thing, like in the text message, like praying for him, praying for his daughter, which I need to explain to you guys this also. He told me his daughter who had cancer. I don't want, hold on, hold on. Okay. I didn't give him any money. I didn't give him any money. He wanted me to get, I was almost there to give him money, but I didn't because it wasn't all, how do I say it? It wasn't making sense now to me how he was rushing me and everything was like moving real fast. Like when you fast talk
Lovely. They not interested in their own cases.
someone and like, just do it, just send it. What do you need all this for? We can work out all that later. That's what really had me pause. And so I was done after that. So there was no money exchanged. If I didn't say that, I apologize. There was no money exchanged. Um, and so when I got on the phone with him, I'm sorry, the next morning, so he told me that he was going to this place in Florida with his daughter. She had to do emergency surgery because something was wrong, you know? So I said a prayer for him. I'm really feeling like a little torn up, like, dang, he's like really going through it with his daughter. Well, I showed my daughter, my adult daughter. I felt like it was time that I shared that with her, like what, because she knows Derwin, you know, my adult daughter, you know, and has had several conversations with Derwin. And I thought it was time for me to share with her. And then I told her that he sent me this long text message about his daughter having cancer. And he told me the name of his daughter that had cancer. That's going to be important here in a minute. And when he told me that his daughter had cancer, he then began to put all her medicine pill bottles like in the picture to prove to me that, you know, I guess that's what he wanted. I mean, if somebody has cancer, I don't need proof. You know, I just assume that people are telling the truth, except one person in particular that lied about cancer. I thought normal people tell the truth about cancer, you know? I would never expect. I mean, he was appalled. I need you guys to understand this too. Ryker was appalled by Tanesa lying about having cancer. That like he was very upset when he would talk about like that whole cancer bit. So let's go back. So my daughter, when she saw that message about everything he was saying about his daughter having cancer, and then he took the picture, he was like, Mom, she's like, Mom. She's like, do you see this? My daughter didn't read any of the message that he sent, and it was long. She was focused on the pill bottles. And she says, Mom, you don't find that this is weird that all the 15 pill bottles are turned in a way where you can't see the name and you can't see what the prescription is. She was like, Mom, I don't believe him. And I was like, what? You know, I'm like,
so the daughter got more sense than the mama, which ain't hard to believe, but the mama's so smart and has the FBI on all of the cases except for hers. Oh, okay, I got it.
like, no. I said, Mari, no, she has cancer. You know, who would say that their daughter has cancer and really doesn't? Nobody would inflict that type of lies and, you know, fraud, you know, of cancer on a child, adult child, that is. Well, that stayed in my head. I want you guys to know, even though I said no, Amari, it still stayed in my head. And now, like, that's one more thing that's in my head. Well, he the pills or I'm sorry. So that morning He texted me that he was on his way. They were pre-oping her for surgery at 10. Then at 3, she was going in for surgery. Now at this time, like throughout the day, now my mind is like, wait a minute, I don't know if I believe this. And I was really praying, like, God, like, why am I thinking like this? I don't want to feel like this. This man would never say that his daughter had cancer and didn't. He would never make up this elaborate story, and she didn't. He would never wish cancer essentially on his child. He wouldn't do that. I know he wouldn't. But something in me wouldn't let it go. Like, wouldn't let me stop believing that. Like, it's a lie. Ari, this is a farce. It's a lie. Ari, research. That's what my mind was saying. So what did I do? I researched. Because remember, he told me who his daughter was. He told me her name. He told me, I'm connected now. So I went to her Instagram page. So guess who was online making, like creating stories during the time where she was under the knife? It was his daughter. I couldn't believe it. I knew it. I knew it in my heart. I was like, I knew I wasn't off on this. I knew I wasn't off. He's lied to me about this. She does not have cancer. He lied about all of this. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, and those of you who've seen my post last night, I was going to expose it then, but I was like, I didn't want to do it like off of at that moment, because I did have a lot of anger in me. Like, this man would lie about his child having cancer. This man was trying to get money out of me because his daughter had cancer. That's why he's so behind on everything. That's why he can't pay for his software that he needs to do taxes for his business. It's all because of this cancer stuff. So he set it up under the guise of his daughter having cancer. And I just seen this. Well, I was talking to someone and they're like, well, Ari, you got to be careful with this, because what if she really does have cancer? But I knew she didn't, because I matched it up. There's no way. He was saying he was feeding her. That's how bad off she was. He was feeding her after surgery. So how could she be making like all these like happy story? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing's going on, like she's not supposed to be in surgery or after surgery. So I sat on it that night. And the next morning, that's when I called Lola. Well, actually last night I sent Lola a message and I said, Lola, talk me off of a ledge, because I was getting ready to expose him at that time, but I didn't. But in me, I did want proof, like 100% to know, like, okay, I know I'm right, but I want to make certain of that. So what I did was I messaged him and I said, Derwin, I know for a fact that your daughter, I don't want to say her name, out of respect for her, I know your daughter does not have cancer. Ask me how? Question mark. And cousins, he told me everything I needed to know. And Lola, she was on the phone call when I was speaking to him trying to explain himself. And then in text message, he told me the truth. He told me that his daughter, the one that he said had cancer, did not have cancer.
Very wicked, sweet to the core. Very wicked. That's why I have stepped away from it. Sorry, Ari, I was reading the
No,
comments, but
please go
very
ahead. Go
wicked.
ahead.
The
No, go ahead.
internet is a vicious place full of people who aren't who they say they are, and unfortunately for the good people, it's not a good place. Like, I have stepped all the way back. I can't. Facebook is just toxic, full of hurt people that hurt people on God. Because today what I heard, and then you got to tell the the next part, because not only do you lie on your child, then you make up another story about another child, but you're also
Oh,
standing on Tay line about cancer. So all of these people are like-minded. They're all the same. They're the same caliber. And then they look for people that they can take advantage of, the ones with the good heart. And see, it makes it hard for even me to this day. When I'm out and I see somebody, I struggle with, are they really, hurting? Do they really need this money, or are they just scamming like everybody else? And so you have this inner battle, and I may not be helping the person that needs the help because I'm scorned by the people that take advantage of people who are helpful. And so just today at Kroger, a lady was out with a sign, and I'm like, damn, it's like 90 degrees, and she got a baby in the stroller. Do I help her? But then it's like, okay, is she on drugs? So, these people make it bad for everybody else in my personal life, and it's disgusting. And who would ever lie on their child? Like cancer and my child don't even go together if it
yeah,
ain't so.
yes.
I don't get
And
it. But
that,
go ahead, Ari.
yeah, and that's exactly what done. That's why I'm here, because this man made up a whole story about his daughter having cancer in an attempt to to for remorse, for sympathy, whatever it is. He used his daughter as the for cancer. That to me, it was like awful. And so then he was like, yeah, I lied about that. I apologize. I should not have done that. But Ari, let me tell you, I really do have a daughter. She's illegitimate. I never told you about her. It was when me and my wife were, I don't want to get too much into this, but when my wife and I were separated, I had a child with someone else. And that is the child that has cancer. So, it's a lot of gaslighting. It's a lot of, now it's moved on to, he now has a daughter that I know nothing about. And that's the real daughter that has cancer. So, he has apologized. I do want to say that he's apologized for, I told him that he needs to tell his daughter right away. I made that like, this is like, you need to tell her what you have done, what you've said. And he has said that he is going to do that. He shut his page down, and he shut his Ryker page down, I should say. And he says he has a lot of remorse for what he has done to his family and to me. But I still don't want anyone else to fall victim to that. I think it's important that you guys know that. So if he ever, comes to you guys and says anything, that you guys know exactly who he is, because I wouldn't want anything like this to happen to anyone else.
Ari, can I say one thing, please? Because I just, and so as cousins, as women, as sisters, whatever we're going to call each other, we also need to stop judgment, right? Because I can say for myself, until you get knocked over
What? Huh?
your head a couple of times, it takes us a while. So let's not act like we've never been in a situation where we've been.
So we got to stop judgment when it comes to Ari. See, this is the thing. But you continue your judgment when it comes to people that you don't know on the internet.
Blind to red flags. It doesn't make us less than, right? What's more important for me as a woman is learning from that previous mistake so that I don't make it moving forward, right? Because what about me made me attract that type of man, because I just don't want to go through that again. So let's not judge in the moment, because we can sit here and say, oh, you should have known it, this and that. And but let me tell you something about gaslighting and narcissism. It's real. These motherfuckers can make you think like you crazy for some of the stuff you even question. And so if you've not been in that, it's easy to say what you would have done and you would have done, but we've all been there. So I just wanted to say that. So let's just be conscious of that when we're, bashing others that have been through something.
What?
That's it.
And I don't mind. I really don't. I mean that.
Well, I
You
do.
know,
That's
know.
fine, but I do, because
I know.
we've all been there,
Yeah, and I'm
or we've
listen.
had a girlfriend that's been there.
Yeah, I've been there with my exes. You guys, it's a fatal, not a fatal flaw of mine, but it's, sometimes it doesn't serve me well. Is my heart is big, and I love hard, and I trust in the good intentions, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But in this situation, it was this man who is fighting for justice against those two, who absolutely was appalled with the cancer lie. Like, he fabricated an entire cancer lie about not himself. He should have done it about himself, not his daughter, though. Not his daughter, his flesh and blood. He made this elaborate hoax of cancer, that she was in surgery. I mean, you guys, it wasn't just saying I have my daughter's in surgery. It was like he had like this whole, he had it like, I don't know, I guess he is Ryker. I will give him that. He's very talented at what he does. So he knew like everything to say as it was surrounding like this condition, and the post-op and the pre-op and everything, the doctor's orders and what he had to do. So, he had it like all mapped out, like what he was going to say to me. And that is like very disturbing.
I heard him on the phone today, and the first thing I told Ari, baby, he is the best gaslighter there is. Ari, did I not tell you that?
Yeah,
Two,
you
two, 2 seconds of hearing him lying. He didn't know I was on the phone. So when you know, right? But until you know, you don't know. This motherfucker is a gaslighter, and he like to lie on. I don't expect the man that I'm talking to, whether it's lust, love, whatever you want to call it, to lie about their kid having cancer. Like that's like the bottom of hell for me, because I don't even want a code for my child, yet alone cancer. So you're not thinking in your mind, oh, this is a lie, right? Because our hearts pull. You can be the toughest of the toughest, right? But a good old sob story will make you like, damn, oh, that I felt that. So we've all been there. And like I said, I heard him for myself today, 2 seconds in. I said, he is gaslighting you to listen to the gods, literally, because he knows what he's done. And this is a pattern. I told Ari, I said, if you don't do it for anything else, do it for other people that he may have done it to. So I saw another question in the comments. Why now? That's why. Because there could be other people that are afraid and embarrassed, because when you come forward with your truth, a lot of people like the victim bash. And so in all situations, people don't come forward, because then you become the person that's wrong, because, oh, you should have saw that. Oh, you should have knew this. But we're not in her shoes. We don't know. And I told Ari for a fact, yes, there's common sense, right? I'm gonna always be truthful. But at the end of the day, I still blame him, because what type of soul do you have to even come after a woman who just lost her child? So that tells me right there, he fucked up all across the board, all across the board. Because that, my heart, even if I was fucked up, my heart wouldn't allow me to be that grimy. Okay, damn, she did. Let me go to another chick. She did just lose her son. If I'm gonna keep it gangsta, I'm gonna stop at some point. He don't have no soul. Your children got cancer. You done made up a whole nother lie that it's another. So he's an elaborate liar. Like this is what he does. So it's a pattern. So he may have wiggled in one of the cousins' inboxes and came up with the story, just like he had that story about the project that some of the cousins donated money to. And so this is what these people do. They see if they can get a little bit, and then when they can get a little bit, they never stop. He's the same as them. There's a lot of them. All of them are the same. They're all like-minded criminals, scammers, whatever you want to call them. Fucked up individuals. That's it.
Yeah. Well, um, I think that's all that I have. And I I don't know. I don't have anything else to say besides that stuff. Um, I've certainly been there in an unhealthy, toxic relationship that had a couple of years to realize, but you know, he came through very, very different. I felt like I can trust him, but what I was learning throughout is that, he was taken away and isolating, like little by little, he was doing that. And, taking certain people, um, he just was not a good, what I've learned is that I didn't make the best, uh, I didn't make the best decision when as it relates to him, and that's my fault. I can be accountable for everything that I need to be accountable for, and I just didn't make a good decision. And but I definitely am learning from it. Now I will say, this is just, you guys, I've been like this for all my relationships. I love really hard, and I trust in probably spaces and places and people that I probably shouldn't trust, but I do, because I love first, and that's just how I've always been. And I think it's a great quality, but I also think it's a quality that might not serve me well all the time, which is okay. I'm accepting of all of it, but what I was not accepting of, he could, that right there, I positioned all that just to give you some backstory, but what really took me over was the cancer and him lying about that. That really triggered me, that he would put an entire horrible disease on his child and make up some elaborate hoax of her having it. And then admitted it. It's not like he stood on that lie. He did admit it. He admitted he lied.
Sure did.
And so that for me was just like what done it for me. It wasn't anything other than the cancer. And this just happened. Like, when I say just happened, he went to that place a couple days ago from what he said. And then today is when I confronted him with his lie. And I was very assumptive about it. I didn't say, well, are you sure she did? I said, I know, because he knows me well enough to know that if she's saying I know and asks me how, that she's probably done some research. So she probably knows. So he couldn't lie after that. And he admitted it. So I think I just wanted you guys to hear a little bit of my story. And that's it, and that's all.
I just want to, I don't have it. I just want to close that. If anybody knows any of the cousins that have made given, because the first thing that came to my head when Ari called me this morning was that, because my brain goes all the way left, and I'm like, that post, there was a post, he asked for money, and I'm like, okay, the cousins. She will tell you that's the first thing I went to. The cousins. He may have did this to the cousins. You have to say something, like you have to, if you don't do it for anything else, because this is a pattern. This is what I'm telling her this morning. So if he has reached out for any reason, Another thing that was found today, this man has several social media platforms. Okay. You know, once you start digging, you find some shit that you don't even be looking for. So that tells me again, it was my thought pattern. So if you've given him money or he's slid in your inbox trying to ask questions, because I have had people say that he slid in their inbox trying to, strike up conversations about this and that. So it could have led to something else. I don't know. Maybe you're embarrassed. You don't want to say anything, but think about other people. You don't have to tell your whole story or whatever the case may be, but if you feel comfortable enough, let somebody know, because these people have to be stopped. If nobody says anything, it will keep going. This is why they do what they do. They just find another bigger scheme, right? They try it, it works, boom, they get a new audience. So if you don't say anything, as you can see, how many pages have Riker had, y'all? Y'all know this. Y'all been there with me from the start. He gets a page gone and he creates a new one, right? So that tells you he knows what to do to get another page. So the pattern continues. This is what they all do. So if you don't say anything, it doesn't help. But if you've given him money under some free project, he doing some project because that's what triggered me. He told Ari the same thing. He had a project, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds familiar. He told the cousins that. And Ari didn't even know that he collected money from the cousins. So if you've given money, we were gonna, this is the kicker. I don't know if I should say this. Should I
Say it.
I've never felt comfortable about Ryker the Stryker, so much so we were going to do what we do to find out who he was, but there was no need, because see, God reveals all. That's it. Good night.
All right. Good night, cousins. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. I don't have anything else to say, but thank you guys and have a good
Thank you,
evening.
guys.
Thank you, Lola.
You're welcome, Ari.
All right. Bye bye.
My God, on today, as if yesterday was not enough. Whew, my God. Scamming is big on social media. They got a lot of them out there, and she's working my down there. Now, I remember specifically Ryker having to say something about people supporting me via Cash App, which they do voluntarily. But yet here we go with another person scamming people, lying about cancer and all kind of stuff. I tell you, boy. I tell you, boy. I tell you. Jealous much? Jealous much. Now I'm finna get off of here for real this time. Now I hope I ain't checking my inbox no more tonight. I'm not checking my inbox no more tonight. But I tell you what I am gonna do. Look up this man. I tell you what I am gonna do. Look up this man. I tell you that. So I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow, but I might. I tell you what I am gonna do. Look up this man that's been talking all this shit. I tell you that. Hey, Mrs. Coleman. Show the picture again. So, Lakeisha, I'm gonna inbox it to you, and it's on my it's the thumbnail. I'm gonna inbox it to you. I tell you what I am gonna do. Look up this man. I promise you that. So let's take a gander. All right. Breathe and see my Winnie William voice. Seems to be Lola runs Ari's life. Ari seems to be capable of living her own. She not seem to be capable of living her own life. Lola speaks as if she's Ari, dumb and dumber. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. I will see y'all on the next live. I'm not checking my inbox. I'm gonna send Lakeisha something, but I'm not checking my inbox chat because I don't need to see nothing else happening tonight. I'll see y'all later. Hopefully tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Oh, and by the way, y'all share this live. Share it every damn where. Now, this need to be in the Blogger Shade Room. All of them damn places. Share this damn live too. Good night.